Give fire!
Charge!
Now why is it called a 3-pound field cannon? Yes, sir. That is correct. It fires a 3-pound cannonball, a solid iron cannonball for long-range use. Not an exploding cannonball like you see in cartoons. Solid iron weighing about 3 pounds, about the size of a billiards ball or a tennis ball. 300 yards, that's how far that cannonball is going. That's 3 football fields. Or at short range, we'd use what's called grape shot or canister shot. That would be 32 musket balls. The same ammunition used in the muskets, 32 of them loaded into the cannon for short range use like a giant shotgun as the enemy was coming towards the gun. It's also called a 3-pounder, and this kind of cannon is also nicknamed a grasshopper because of how easily it can maneuver and hop along the battlefield. No horses taking this cannon into battle though. The men will be willing into battle. So we don't have to worry about horses, we don't have to worry about a cart to bring the ammunition. The ammunition, as you can see, is behind the big thing that goes boom, is actually put onto the cannon so it goes into battle in one big package. They'll use ropes and wheel the cannon into battle. It takes a crew of 6 stout men to operate the cannon, and they all have their specific jobs. And it takes a whole process to load the cannon that can be fired 3 times in a minute. That's the same rate of fire as the musket. So, in about 20 seconds, the crew should be able to load and fire the cannon. That might not seem very fast, but when you have a unit of artillery up on a hill, and they're all firing that canister shot, 32 musket balls, 3 times a minute, that's the same equivalent as a 50 caliber machine gun today. But like a machine gun today has to be reloaded and cooled down, they can keep on firing. So it is a very high rate of fire. There's a lot of lead coming out of this cannon. Okay, so the first command would be given would be to search the piece, and that is for the worm. Show everyone the worm. The worm is an iron corkscrew at the end of the ramrod, so it's going to gather the remnants of the last powder charge. So in the Revolutionary War, the British and the Americans used linen sacks of gunpowder. So when we would fire, there would actually be burning fabric inside the cannon. Do we want that in there? No, why not? Yes, because if we put more gunpowder in, it's going to explode. So that's what the worm is for, is to gather the remnants of that powder charge, to gather up that burning linen. Now the next command is going to be sponge the piece. Wait for me. The sponge is a sheepskin wrapped around the ramrod. It's dipped in a bucket of water at the beginning of the front of the cannon, so it's wet, and it's going to extinguish any embers that might still be in the cannon. Sponge. Now listen. Did you hear that thud? That pop? That pop is very important because I, as the second gunner, was covering the touch hole at the end of the cannon. The cannon has 2 holes in it. It's got the barrel, it's got the muzzle at the barrel, and the touch hole. By me covering up that hole, I've stopped any air from entering the cannon. So when he swabs it out and pulls it out real fast, he has just created a vacuum. Little children, what you'll learn in science class, fire can't burn in a vacuum. So anything that's burning in there is now extinguished, we hope. Now, if we didn't hear that pop, that means that I wasn't covering the touch hole. I have just endangered everyone on the cannon crew because now there could be something still burning down there. So, if we did not hear that pop, I would be punished severely after the battle. I would be tied to the cannon wheels. Liam, can you demonstrate?
Well, if not me, just fine.
Yep. And whipped 10 times on my bare back. That punishment was called kissing the gunner's daughter. And trust me, you don't want to kiss the gunner's daughter. You'll have a sore back. Now, those first 2 steps are just for safety. We haven't even touched the gunpowder yet, but now we're going to bring forth the cartridge from the ammo box, which I said before is far enough away from the big thing that goes boom. So back at the ammo box is the powder monkey. And yes, they were called the powder monkey because they were usually the shortest or the youngest person on the cannon crew, and they had to be because this is the most dangerous part of the cannon loading procedure, as you'll see. Bring forth the cartridge, dry run, no cartridge. So the powder monkey will bring it from the ammo box up to the man with the worm who has his hand behind his back, and then come back to the ammo box. The enemy is looking for the powder monkey because he has that gunpowder. It's the only time the powder is exposed to the enemy. So if they shoot the powder monkey and that cannon cartridge, they can blow everyone up. That's why the powder monkey was usually the shortest person on the cannon crew. Smaller target, it's harder to see, harder to hit on a long battlefield. Now the ammunition is up at the front of the cannon. Now we're going to load. He'll now load it into the muzzle because it is a muzzle loader. It doesn't load at the back end, the breech, like a modern cannon. We have to load it through the front. Now we're going to ram cartridge. Now watch what he does. He lets go of the ramrod. Now why does he do that instead of what you see in all the movies is they're packing that ammunition there like this, going like this? That's wrong. What if we miss something? There's something still burning down there, and that cannon goes off. While he has a firm grip of that ramrod, the cannonball, the ramrod, and his hands are going to be down the field. So he throws the ramrod down, so just in case the cannon goes off, he gets to keep his arms. Very important. Now the cannon is loaded, it's now time to pick and prime. Me as the second gunner, I have a brass pick. Brass does not create sparks on an iron cannon, so I can safely puncture the powder charge through that touch hole that opens up that linen sack of gunpowder, exposing the powder so I can introduce a priming quill. A priming quill is a bird's feather filled with gunpowder, so it acts as a fuse from outside the cannon to inside the cannon. I will then put that into the touch hole and cover it with my hat. Now why? We're on a smoky, hazy, chaotic battlefield. I don't want a stray spark to set off that cannon because we might have friendly units, friendly soldiers in front of the cannon. We want it to go off when we say fire. So then the next two commands are going to be for the first gunner who holds the lint stock. Vinny, show everyone the lint stock. The lint stock holds what's called a slow match. In the 18th century, that's what a match was. It was a linen rope treated with a compound called saltpeter, which is one of the ingredients in gunpowder. So when you light it, it burns slowly but very hot, like the end of a cigar or cigarette. So you don't want to touch it because you'll get severely burned. But instead of having just open fire somewhere next to all this gunpowder, we have a little piece of fire on the end of that rope that's going to fire the cannon. So on the command of make ready, everyone would step back and then give fire. He brings the rope down to the fuse and boom, the cannon goes off. All right, live fire. Have a care. Search piece. Sponge piece. Handle cartridge. Show and load. Ram cartridge. Two more times. Pick and prime. All right, have a care. Make ready. Cover your ears. Give fire. Huzzah! Start the piece. You don't have to keep up with it. I have no idea. Don't want that wet. Basically, when you touch the pin line of water. One more time.
Yeah! One more time. One more time. One more time. One more time.
Handle cartridge, live fire. Load. Ram cartridge. Peg and prime.
Oh, I smell French fries.
Break, ready! Cover your ears.